Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. In case you didn't see the last video, a video I did about Terry Reid that I just released not that long ago, you should probably go check that one out. It's one I would really hope everyone takes the time to at least look at, and then goes and seeks out Terry Reid music. But that is not why we're here today. Here today is all about greatest hits compilations. There's a thread going around the vinyl community from the Northern Vinyl guy, and he was just asking about 20 greatest hits albums. I thought 20, that's a lot, because I kind of want to talk a little bit about each of these greatest hits records. So I cut it down to 7 or 8, somewhere around there. Um, if you haven't yet, please subscribe or like or leave a comment or do things like that. I'll try to remember to ask more questions so you have something to actually comment on. That makes things a whole lot easier. But yeah, let's get started with my small pile but important pile of greatest hits records. And I also want to say I never had a problem with anybody getting greatest hits records when you're young and you have a very limited income, you're in high school, you're in middle school, you can't afford to go out and buy a whole catalog. So the greatest hits album was the way to go, and that helped you decide whether you wanted to seek out the full catalog of a certain band or maybe be content with the greatest hits record. So let's get started with this one right here. I really like this record. It's a good sampling from right at the very beginning with Space Oddity, and then takes you through to Golden Years, which is on that one, Station to Station. That's up there on the wall. Not sure if you can see it. Not sure if it's in frame, but it's up there. So the Changes one. A lot of people, especially by high school, when people were just starting to discover a little more experimental stuff than mainstream. David Bowie was kind of walking that fine line. So this record, yeah, has a bit of everything. You got a little bit off of Ziggy Stardust in there. You got Changes in there, Space Oddity, Gene Genie, and then some later mid '70s stuff. Diamond Dogs, Rebel Rebel. It's just a great record, and you kind of pick through the tracks on here and go, okay, I really like that one and that one. It's like, oh, those are both on, Station to Station, or they're both on Hunky Dory. So, or that one's on Hunky Dory, or that one's on, yeah, well, one of the other records. I mean, there's too many to list. I'm trying to go through them all in my head right now. It's like, oh, there's that one, that one, that one, that one. Maybe it's Diamond Dogs that you like. So you could seek out that album, and although Bowie records could change quite a bit within the same album, but yeah, this is a great record to start. If you've never listened to Bowie and you think, that's maybe somewhere I'd like to go, this is a good one to start with, and then it'll kind of help you to decide which form of David Bowie you are most into, because yeah, the guy pivoted a lot. Um, this one, I think probably most people have. It is one of the biggest and best selling greatest hits albums, or best selling albums, period, not just greatest hits. I think it is the biggest selling greatest hits record, and in the top five still of album sales for any, you know, so for any record, this one's up there. Um, yeah, the Eagles. Some people don't like the Eagles. I don't quite get that. I could see not being a huge fan of the Eagles, but there's got to be at least one song of the Eagles that you like. Like, you don't have to tell anybody. You can keep it a secret if you want, but I know somewhere deep down you like an Eagles song and you listen to it, locked in your room on very low volume late at night, so nobody knows that you're a closet Eagles fan, because how can you not like anything about the Eagles? Multiple vocalists, several lineup changes, so the sound did change over time, and for all the early stuff, you got all the best right there. And again, you can decide, okay, I'd like to look further into these guys. That's your little indicator. This one has the nice textured sleeve, so the skull kind of sticks out a little bit. nice, clean copy that I got for a good price. And yes, I do still actually listen to that sometimes. Now we get to a big and important greatest hits album, at least for anyone who is a teenager where I lived between the 1970s and probably the 1990s. Everybody had a copy of Steve Miller Band's Greatest Hits 74 to 78. It was at every house party. It was at in every car. It was, maybe it was 8 track, maybe it was cassette, but everybody had a copy of this. I don't know what made it so popular. This is actually my brother's well-worn copy with lots of wear and stains and everything else. Um, I have a copy of this as well that I bought, but it doesn't have the cool inner picture sleeve like this one has that shows this massive crowd waiting for the Steve Miller Band. Um, and yeah, the other thing that I didn't like about my copy was on the original, you got the cool horsehead center label with the image of Steve Miller kind of in recess there. So I'm all excited when I get my copy. I pull it out, and it's a plain green capital label, which, I mean, that was depressing for a minute because I always thought this was really cool, even when I was a kid. And I thought, okay, now I'm going to have one of those for myself. And that's not the way it happened. But I still played that record a lot. And it played at every party that was ever hosted at my house at least once, probably 2 or 3 times in the course of a night. And that goes for my brother's parties, my sister's parties, my parties. This one got played. Um, and it's still a great record. Next up, The Doors' Greatest Hits. This is the perfect example, especially for me, of hearing a greatest hits record and then going and buying the catalog. Um, so the personal story with this one, uh, in 19, what year was this? 80? Yeah, it was 1980. So I guess it was Christmas of 1980. My oldest sister, bought this for my brother for Christmas, and I didn't like it. Like, I did not like it. I thought it was a terrible record. I didn't, you know, I liked music, but I didn't like this when I first listened to the whole thing. But then within 6 months, it was pretty much the only thing I listened to. And then for the next, several years, it kind of went that way. Um, and then I started, eventually seeking out the studio albums after that. So this is, yeah, obviously the original 80s press with the small E Electra red label. Um, but yeah, like I said, I didn't like it. And eventually it won me over, and then it really won me over, and that was pretty much all I wanted to listen to. Um, Now, this does have the original picture sleeve in it with that great picture of Jim, and then all the studio albums and Jim's spoken word and Absolutely Live and the promo for No One Here Gets Out Alive. So, my copy that I bought later on also does not have that. It was just a plain inner sleeve, and I think it was still the red Electra label, but not the inner sleeve. The inner picture sleeve was not there. So, but yeah, that one led me down a whole road of stuff, and then I bought everything that I could find of theirs, obscure stuff and imports like Star Collection 1 and 2 and bootleg stuff anywhere I could find it. So yeah, that all started with a greatest hits record. So maybe that was a good thing, maybe that was a bad thing. I'm not sure. Um, so that was the first one, two, three, four. These two, honorable mention. You have to talk about the Beatles if you're talking about greatest hits. This is your introduction to the Beatles. If you didn't grow up in the time of the Beatles, for me, the Beatles were done by the time I started. So this is where you kind of got your feet wet with the Beatles. Um, this one, my brother had because he liked the later, longer, less poppy kind of. Beatles songs. And then when I was maybe 12, 13, I got this one because I liked all the poppy early stuff. Um, Now it's kind of changed. I do kind of prefer the blue album to the red album, but again, there's so many copies of these around, and people still love them. It's got it covers so many different facets of what the Beatles were, from the very beginning to the very end. Um, so yeah, if you don't want to buy a whole Beatles catalog, which is actually not that big, you could do it, but it could be quite costly because Beatles stuff is always in demand. So if you want nice, clean, good copies of those records, it's not cheap. Um, but yeah, that's a great way to go. Those two greatest hits packages will get you a lot of music for a decent price. Um, Now, the last and probably in Canada the most important greatest hits record, not by a Canadian artist, would probably be this one, Nazareth Greatest Hits. A lot of people, most people had the Steve Miller Band Greatest Hits. Everybody had this. Like everywhere you went, everyone had this. Everyone knew these songs. Everyone had favorites. I don't really know exactly why. It's a great record, but I don't know why it got so hugely popular in Canada. And I mean, I actually looked up the numbers. There were 50 releases of this album in Canada. We don't have that many people to warrant 50 pressings of a single record. So there were 20 vinyl pressings. So that's ridiculous on its own. 20 vinyl pressings of a single record in a country with a relatively low population. So 20 vinyl pressings, 20 cassette pressings, 8 CD pressings, and 2 8-track pressings. It's for a total of 50 releases of this album in Canada. Um, Even in the UK, where Nazareth are from Scotland, there was only 21. So the UK's got a higher population. They're actually from the UK, and they don't have as many releases as we have in Canada. So for whatever reason, um, I don't know, maybe it was the cover of Joni Mitchell's This Flight Tonight that maybe grabbed some people, or yeah, I mean, there's quite a variety on this record too. Um, like you have Love Hurts, which was actually an Everly Brothers song way back in the 50s, which is it's a quite a variation from it, but yeah, it's a great song too. You should look it up. Look up the Everly Brothers version of Love Hurts. It's still really cool. Um, but yeah, everybody kind of had their songs that they liked, and then yeah, sometimes your opinions changed, and you change from maybe it used to be This Flight Tonight, now it's Shanghai and Shanghai. Um, I got this one just a while ago. Anytime I find copies of this record, I pick it up, and if I put it on Discogs, it usually sells fairly quickly because people really like it. This one's in super clean shape with the shrink wrap still on it, and it was $8, so you know you can't go wrong. But yeah, I don't know why or what it is that made that so popular. If there are any other people out there, not necessarily just Canadians, but why was that so popular? Please let me know in the comments what your opinion is, why you think that album got so popular. Why in Canada it sold better than anywhere else. And I mean, that does happen with other singers and bands as well. For some reason, they will do exceptionally well in Canada, better than they do internationally, better than they do in their home countries. Um, so, um, for a question for today, I just want to know your top three greatest hits records that led you to seek out the studio albums or seek out maybe a wider sampling of a certain band or artist. Um, because that's happened to all of us. Everybody who's a vinyl collector thinks, oh, maybe I'll pick up this record, and you know, there's a couple songs that I like on there, and it ends up leading you down a long path of maybe searching. Sometimes it's easy to find stuff, other times it's very difficult. So yeah, just let me know in the comments which artists or which bands were like that for you. Um, and that's pretty much it for today. I'm going to keep it kind of short. The last one was a little bit longer. I've got a couple more videos coming up, like I previewed a bit in the last one. I'm going to keep at it and keep putting out content since I played hooky for the last 3 something weeks. Um, so I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Go out and enjoy the day and play your greatest hits records and don't feel bad about it. And I will see you the next time around.